let's start here. As far as announcements go, so on Monday we finished the last of the new materials. So today we'll do as many of the corresponding homework questions for section 6.4, system of linear equations and two variables as we can. And so this is an extra credit opportunity. This is extra credit, one of those extra credit days, right? So I'm gonna try to get out as many extra credit points as I can that can go towards your overall grade. Let me see a snapshot of the schedule for the remaining. Seven, eight. Okay, I thought I might have some people that would trickle in. Okay. So today is the 20th, right? Our last day of class is next Wednesday, right? So obviously this week is the holiday, right? So we have Thanksgiving in a couple of days. I would assume that some of you would have started to travel. I know I would have if I were a student, especially if I'm doing a remote class. But we're here. You got your attendance credit. So you saw just now live on the spot. I went on and made a final exam study guide, right? So I went on and did that because I got approval to go ahead and proctor you all's final. So that means I'll be hosting your final, which is a good thing for you. At least I hope so, right? So that means you don't have to be in person for the final. Matter of fact, let me hop over here and let me look at something to confirm really quick. So the final exam should become available on December 3rd, which is a Sunday at 11:11 a.m. and it's due that Friday, December 8th, 11:59 p.m. Right? So you'll have a little over 5 days, or right at about 5 days to work on the final, right? Let me go ahead and rename it. It's just final exam. It's not part A or anything. Edit. Let me not go too far to show you so me hosting the final. So again, you saw here on the spot, I went on and made a final exam study guide. And all it is, I just took 10 random questions from each section. I think we did sections 1-1 to 1-6 from chapter 1. From chapter 2, we did 2-1, 2-2, and 2-3. I know we did 3-1 and 6-4, right? So I did 10 questions from each of those sections. I created a study guide. You should have access to it right now. It's just for practice. It's not going to get factored into your grade at all. And I can't think of anything else. I intend to be updating you all's grades, over the break. So again, we'll meet today. We're off for the rest of this week. We're not going to meet on Wednesday. I know the school closes at noon, but we're just not going to meet at all on Wednesday. And then after today, we have next Monday, and then next Wednesday is the last time that we're going to meet live. After next Wednesday, then you're kind of on your own. But everything is going to become available again. We saw the dates for the final, so it should become available that Sunday the 3rd, and then it's due that Friday, December 8th at 11:59 p.m. Again, that Friday, December 8th at 11:59 p.m. is the hard deadline for all assignments. It's a hard deadline. So that means that past that Friday night, going into that Saturday morning, once that Saturday hits, everything locks out, right? So this is a great time. You got like almost a week. You got a good amount of time, but this is a great time to get caught up with any and everything on Pearson, right? And we can honestly work on some of that stuff together right now. If you have an exam or a quiz or a homework or anything that you're working on Pearson and you need some help, we can pull up questions right now. If you're working on a homework, you can click on the Ask My Instructor. It'll send me a screenshot. If you're working on a quiz or an exam, you can screenshot it, email it to me right now, and we can pull it up and work on it together, right? That's for anybody in the house that just wants that support. But my recommendation is to, if you're going back and working on old assignments to boost your overall grade, prioritize your exams. That's where you're going to get the most bang for your buck, right? Once your exams are whatever you want it to be, and again, idealistically, you want your scores to be higher than whatever you're going for, right? As high as you can get them. But once your exam scores are whatever you would like them to be, then I would encourage you to do the quizzes next and then save the homework for last, because the homework is going to be a whole bunch of work for minimal points, right? Okay, as usual, if you have questions, feel free to unmute yourself to get my attention. Let me check on Zoom one more again. I see something in the chat. I'll check it just now. Let's see. Do we have one attempt on the final or multiple? The final is just like the other exams. So multiple unlimited attempts. The system is set to take your highest score. It should change. Like, it should be a replica of the other exams. It's just cumulative, right, from the beginning to the end. So we have now I don't know if that was this class or not, but one of my students was like, Mr. Pfeiffer, you don't have to say hey SRI anymore. You can just say SRI, just you have to say it out because I'm not saying it because it'll activate. And so I did an update in the night, and it's true. Like now you can activate SIRI by just saying the name, and then it'll launch. You don't have to say hey that name anymore. I'm trying to think of anything else. Yeah, so we have 3 sessions. I think I'm just gonna jump around randomly, like since it's one document. So let's hop over to the study guide I literally just created. All right, you saw me do it. Let me go to view mode. Okay. Okay, I was about to say, I was like, it should be there. Final exam study guide, practice not graded. Let's go. All right, boom. And I kind of discovered a new trick. So it's a total of 110 questions. You can kind of jump around at your leisure. It's just practice. So as you make your way through the study guide and you practice on your own, as you come across questions, I mean, honestly, you just want to try to do this as you want to try to simulate or replicate whatever testing environment you're going to have as best as possible. So whatever tools and, calculator, paper, pencil, notes, whatever you're going to be using, you want to try to replicate it. Now, obviously, you get a little bit of like of a cushion because you're not proctored. So, do what you need to do, right? That doesn't mean you won't ever be proctored. You might, for whatever reason, you might find yourself proctored, but just do what you got to do for right now. Let me see. There was something. Okay, so let's hop over here. Let me go generate a random number. That's not how you spell random. Random number. Come on. Between 1 and 110. Boom. Okay, God. Okay, we're going to start with question number 70. Okay. Right here. Boom. Okay. So this one says, this comes from section 2.1, question 53. It says, solve the given quadratic inequality by sketching the graph of the corresponding quadratic function, right? So what this inequality is saying, when is this quadratic above the x-axis, right? When is it positive? In other words, when is the graph above the x-axis? So all we really got to do is look at the graph, and then I'm a fan of what some of my students in the past have done, and let's just use Desmos, right? So let's go to Desmos, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to break this off so I can have it over to the side, like it's my mini little calculator. Okay. I was this close to letting you guys go, but I was like, no, it's not going to take long. We're only going to be together for like 30 minutes. We're all here, so let's just go ahead and try to do as much review as we can. Let's not lose a day. We're already losing a lot of days, and then we're not going to be long, right? That's one of the beautiful things about this setup. I was gaming like until 5. That's part of the reason why I was late. In my Jammy Jams game, and I was like, okay, we got to get going. Let's go. So brush my teeth and get logged on, and try to make myself available for you all. Okay, so look, so when I type it in exactly as I see it, notice the image that we get, right? Okay, solve the graph by sketching the graph of the corresponding quadratic. What this is saying is that whenever x is less than 1 or greater than 2, is that right? Did I type right? X squared minus 6x plus 8. Let me remove the inequality and let's just look at the graph, right? Let's just make this an equal sign. Wait a minute, something's still not right. Oh, okay, I see what's going on. Okay. Okay, so we want to look at the graph. Let's do y equals. Instead of setting it equal to 0, there we go. So now, let me think. Y is greater than 0. Now, what if I say this minus y strictly greater than 0? There we go. Did you see that change, right? I just want you to see the evolution, right? Let's just back up real quick. So when I type it in as I see it, I got this, and I was like, wait a minute, this isn't the image that I was expecting. I was expecting like a parabola. So this is why it's important to know how to do this stuff by hand, right? Because if you just type it as you see it, this doesn't make sense in the context of the question. This is really solving, it's really just solving the quadratic when x is, at least I think it is, 1 and 2. But that doesn't make sense, right? So anyway, I knew that something was off here. So I was like, okay. So then I was like, okay, well, let's just look at it in terms of y, right? Let's just graph the equation. So our y equals this quadratic, right? Now, from what we're given, we have when is this quadratic positive? So we can see here that it's above the x-axis when x is strictly less than 1 or strictly greater than 2. All right. No, that's not 2. That's 2 and 4. That makes more sense. 2 and 4, right? Because of the tick marks, right? Each tick mark is 2. So then I was thinking, okay, that's fine, right? That's all we needed. So let's transfer that graph here. We're going to click to enlarge. 2 and 4. So we have the vertex is 3, -1, and then either of those x-intercepts, right? Either of those will work. Okay. So, you do have to adjust periodically. Again, we got the vertex was 3, -1. So 3, I'm just going to click on 2 random spots and then drag it to the right, or I could type it in. So there's 3, -1. And then we had an x-intercept of 2, 0. So all I'm going to do is for the second point, nope, delete this one. What do we say? I think we said 2, 0. So I'm just going to type in the coordinate if it lets me. Settings. Yeah, I can edit the points. So I know this one was 2, 0. If I can get it to work again. 2 is totally throwing a tantrum. Turn this off. It's not working. Back up. Come on. Is it you? Like, what's the problem? Are you connected? Maybe it's you. Let's do 2. She is definitely throwing a tantrum today. We're gonna reload it and just try it again. I think this is a different one. So let's make the change here. X squared minus 10x plus 9. Okay. All right, this one's a little bit different. X squared minus 10x plus 9. So we got a y-intercept of, a vertex of 5, -16. Okay, that makes sense. So click. Let's try this again. 5, -16 is right there. Got that one. Let me see. When x is 0, y is 9. So let's try to plot 0, 9, which is there. Drag it. Okay, I think we got it this time. Right, so what I ended, instead of trying to type it, because I'm working on an iPad, so I think that's why I was kind of throwing a tantrum. I just clicked and dragged the second point. I was successfully able to plot the first one. Okay, so now we're going to check the graph. Okay, so our graph is good. So now the solution. Now, again, what it's asking is, when is this quadratic positive? When is it above the x-axis, right? So now that we have our graph, well, it's above the x-axis on the outside of the x-intercepts, right? So our x-intercepts, one of them is what? 1, 0. And the other one is 9, 0, right? So to the left, when x is less than 1 and x is greater than 9. Okay, so inequality. So it's above the x-axis to the left of 1 and to the right of 9, right? So to the left of 1, all the x values to the left is going to go from -infinity up to 1. But it's not above 0 at 1, so we need to use a parentheses, and then we're going to say union, and then from 9 to infinity, right? So a little bit of technical difficulties there, but we got it eventually, all right? Okay, knocking off the cobwebs. So at least the study guide will be ready. You have access to it over the break. So anybody that wants to practice can practice. And let's go ahead and generate another one. Let's go to 101. Question 101.
Dr. Pfeiffer, could you let
Yes.
Ari Jones back in? He accidentally got logged out.
No worries. Mr. Jones and Christian. Let me update this real quick. Which of the ordered pairs is a solution of the given system? Okay, right? We did this one before. So let's use GeoGebra again, right? I'm gonna get rid of this. And I think we can type this one in as is. 5x plus 7y equals 9. And then we have x plus 4y equals 7, right? Boom. We got two lines. We see where they cross. We got the intercepts, right? So the solution to the system should be -1, 2. Now, if this were a testing environment, I would just do a quick test. When x is -1 and y is 2, make sure it makes both equations true. We see that as a solution is A. We're going to go with that. Boom. Final check. Okay. Generate. Next one, let's do question 12. Question 12. Right, sure. Okay. Find the slope of the line if it exists. What's a quick way? Okay, so the slope formula, right? So slope is rise over run, which is changing y over changing x. So we got these ordered pairs. Let me think. Okay. All right, so I'll take some notes here. So the slope formula is changing y over changing x. So that's going to be y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Notice you can't just type this one in. You can plot it. Maybe you might have something that gives you the slope, but this is why it's important, because sometimes it's important to know how to do these things manually, because sometimes you don't have the luxury of using whatever device you have, right? And so you still need to know how to do it manually. So let me take some notes here. The slope between 2 points is going to be y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1, right? So that's the formula, the slope formula, right? So hopefully if you have your formula sheet, you can jump straight to it. This formula is ready to go, right? So if you're working, you got your little formula sheet ready to go, you're good to go, right? You don't have to flip around and search. Like one thing I noticed, like I have professors that would allow us to use notes on exams and things like that. And I will say that I noticed that like as a student, if I didn't like create the thing myself, if I tried to use somebody else's notes, I'm just flipping back and forth the whole time. And like I don't know anything. And it's like it was such a pain. But when I like would do the homework and like create the thing myself and like get intimate with the information, then when I use my own notes on an exam, I was like, oh yeah. Half the time I didn't even need it, because the act of creating your own notebook and the cheat sheet is how you learn it, right? So the act of once you create it yourself, you really don't even need it, because you remember you've done it so many times, but just do what you gotta do. So y2, let me see. The second y, xy, what is that, -3? So we're gonna say -3 minus, now we gotta watch our signs. I should be using parentheses. The other y is 2, okay? I think we're okay. And then x2 looks like it's 7 minus 0, right? I think these are the numbers. I just didn't write it out. So that looks like a -5 over 7. -5 over 7. Notice it's a negative slope. As we trace the graph from the left to the right, it's going down. So we're going to go with this. God is good, right? Okay, let's get another random. Generate. Oh, 7. Come on. Let's get some better numbers, but we're good. Let's go to question 7. Boom, right there. All right. We got about a little over 10 minutes, right? And we're done. You're free for 7 days, right? Find the x and y intercepts of the graph of the equation. Okay, so let's just use GeoGebra. Decimals, since we can, right? Why not? X to the power of 2 plus y to the power of 2 equals, I'm just keeping it 100, all right? X and y intercepts, right? So let's zoom out so we can see these guys. And we're going to click the x-intercepts. Looks like it's negative plus or minus 10. Use the commas to separate as needed. So I think you can just do plus or minus 10 like that. God is good, right? All the time, right? And the y-intercept, same deal. I just hit this plus or minus symbol right there. Hit 10. God is good. All right. Let's keep it going. we get into our rhythm now. 83, that's what I'm talking about. Just something, I'm just trying to make it random. Like, I just want to try to cover as many topics as I can with whatever time that we have. We don't have a lot of time left, right? Blink of an eye, it's over. Use synthetic division to find the quotient and the remainder. Ooh, I like synthetic division. It's fun, right? Okay. I'm thinking I should take some notes, right? I was avoiding it, but let me stop being lazy. So notice we have the question ID there in the upper right-hand part of the screen. This comes from section 2.3, question 5, right? So let me start by getting a copy of this guy. Come on, thank you. Boom, right there, right there. Okay. Let's hop over here. Oh man, I feel like I need to load this match I had recently. I don't know if any of you guys play Mobile Legends, but oh my god, my favorite character to use is I know I talk about it. And you see her all the time if you ever watch any of my Easter eggs. Her name is Matilda. She's a support assassin. Oh my god. And so I always have to trick my teammates into cooperating. Like I always have to trick them, and I have to read them. You can't just. I'm not at that level where I can just choose my favorite character, because sometimes if I choose her, my team start like trolling. They start intentionally like choosing crap players and playing real bad. Now I'm like wasting. I'm mucking up my my stats for my character. But I had this team recent that every row was filled, and I had an aggressive tank. The best is when you get an aggressive tank. That means they're in their face. You got somebody that's close range. You got a high defense close range, high damage close range, high damage long range, and then you got a couple of other things in the mix. Oh my god, we was running all over them like they stole something. It was so much fun. Okay, synthetic division, right? Getting back on task. So we can do synthetic division here because we're dividing by a linear binomial, right? So the 0 of the denominator goes in the chair, right? So when x is -2, that goes in the chair, right? Okay. So then we take the coefficients of each term, but we got to make sure that every power is accounted for, right? We don't skip any powers, right? So the power of 6 is the highest. That coefficient is a 1. But notice the power of 5 is missing, so we need a placeholder. Power of 4 is there, so that's that coefficient is 5. Power of 3 is there. Power of 2 and power of 1 is missing, so we need 2 placeholders. Then we have a constant. Notice that our highest power is the 6. That means we should have 7 coefficients, right? It's always like n plus 1, right? Okay, so we're in the clear now. So now we can use synthetic division to do this guy. So the first one just comes down. On a diagonal, we multiply, right? So then -2 times 1. Vertically, we add. Diagonal, we multiply, add, multiply, add, multiply. Let me see, 38. Add, multiply. So if that were 40, 80 minus 4, 76, -76. -76. We're going to subtract 8, 160, so 152, positive 152, and then 158. So that's our remainder. Find the quotient and the remainder. So since we started with the degree 6, at this point, this is called the depressed equation. It's not sad, it's just dropped down by 1 degree. At this point, we're going to have a degree 5 polynomial. 4q squared, like this, right? And that final result is over x plus 2. Okay? So let's submit this result and see if we can. So just because it's kind of a long question, I'm going to put this there. I didn't really want another one. I wanted the one that I'm working on right now. That's fine. All right, so we got 2 instances open. That's okay. And we want this guy. So let's give this a go. You want to work for me today? Thank you. So, and can we make this a little bit bigger? All right. So we got x to the power 5 minus 2x to the power of 4 plus 9x to the power of 3 minus 19x to the power of 2 plus 38x minus 76. Let's see. The quotient. Okay, so they just want the quotient for right now. Cross our fingers. God is good. All right. And then the remainder is 158. Okay. Let's hang out for like at least 5 more minutes. Generate. Let's go to question 75. I'm so glad I made this study guide. I might have to share it with my other students. Question 75. Match the following polynomial function with its graph. The y-intercept. Okay, so we got something for that. Let's get rid of this. Let's close this out. So notice that was a circle, by the way. So then negative x to the power of 8 plus x to the power of 6 minus 1 equals y. All right, y-intercept. So we have the y-intercept here. 0, -1. Integer or decimal, so just -1. Okay. And the graph should be D. See how easy that was? Easy peasy. Lemon squeezy. Look at my kneesy. Little Jeezy. Young Jeezy. All right. Anyway. That's solid 5 minutes this time. 110. Did we do 110 already? Really, you're going to give us the very last question? Whatever. All right, let's do 110. And we'll continue working on this when we come back. Okay, we have, let me zoom in just a little bit. Just a little bit more. Okay, so it says the coffee counter charges $9 per pound for Kenya French roast coffee and $8 per pound for Sumatran coffee. How much of each type should be used to make a 20-pound blend that sells for $8.65? We're definitely going to take some notes on this. Now, this is a system of equations in 2 variables. This comes from section 6.4, question 77. All right, I got a couple of different ways to do this. When I tried it last time, I got both of them to work. So let me just try to pick one that I think is the most simple as best I can. This one could be a little bit circular. You got to be kind of organized and be neat. Just be a little bit careful. All right. This will probably be the last one for the day. Oh no, I didn't realize I closed it out. That's fine. Let me open this. Come on. Just got it. So again, right there. Excellent. Yep. I know we're working with a system of equations in 2 variables. I'm going to try to match the way I think the book is doing it first. Now, it says it charges $9 per pound of Kenyan French roast coffee and $8 per pound for Sumatra coffee. How much of each type should be used? Now we want, okay. So what are we doing? Kenyan and Sumatra, right? So we know we're going to let K be the number of pounds of Kenyan French roast plus S be the number of pounds of Sumatran, and that should total 20 pounds altogether, right? And then we're also given that if we do $9 per pound of Kenyan French roast, so we're going to say 9 times K plus $8 per pound, so that's going to be 8 times S. We want 20-pound blend, right? So however many pounds of the Kenyan plus however many pounds of the Sumatran, we're going to finish with 20 pounds times $8.65 per pound. And I think that's how we set this up. So now, and we can let K be X and let Y be S, right? So then we'll rewrite it as like X plus Y equals 20, and then 9X plus 8Y equals 20 times 8.65. And then I'm just going to use my favorite guy here, and we're going to call it a day, right? We're going to do what we did before, right? Because the hardest part with that one is constructing it. Once you construct it properly, then I feel like it's fairly simple to solve, especially using something like Desmos. And this is way simpler than the way I used to do it in the past. And this is something I've only started doing new. So we're going to say x plus y equals 20. Let's see what happens. And then we're going to have 9x plus 8y equals 20 times 8.65. Okay, let's see what happens. Uh-oh. Let's zoom out. Can we see them? Okay, there they are. So they do cross. And we want the solution. So we're looking for the point of intersection. 13 and 7. Right? So when x is 13 and y is 7, right? See how easy that was? Oh my God. 13 and 7. I used to do calculations. So let me see. We got that x was 13 and y is 7. So we're saying, okay, so 13 pounds of, 13 pounds, can't write today, of the Kenyan French roast and 7 pounds of the Sumatran coffee. Okay, see how easy that was? The hardest part about that was setting it up. Once you set it up properly and you know how to solve the system of equations, we've been doing this like, we can do it in our sleep now, at least if we have access to Desmos. Now, again, we're only able to do this because we're not in a proctored environment, but, don't be surprised if one day you're going to have to be able to solve the system by hand, right? So that means something like, you can use the elimination method, right? Or substitution, solve for one variable and plug it into another. But for right now, this will suffice. 13 and 7. Right here. $13 and 7. So 13 of the Kenyan, a good omen. 13, 7. Come on. Get rid of this. 7. Okay, let's check. And God is good. Right? Come on now. Come on. It don't get much better than that. Like, I know if it were me, I would take advantage of every opportunity that I can. Are there any burning questions before we go our separate ways? Going once, going twice. Let me make a copy of this available for you all. Do I want to change the name? I think we're okay on the name, actually. Let me share. I'm going to send this to Box. I'll make sure it's the correct folder. And I need to send this to my other students as well.
Professor?
Oh, come on. Fall of 23. This one.
Professor?
This one. Yes.
Notes. Is the grade in math lab
daily?
Like your updated grade?
Okay.
Is that the
so when this
grade?
bar finishes loading, you'll receive a copy of it.
No, I'm going to.
If there aren't any burning questions, we're going to go ahead and end the session here. Let me do a few announcements.
I'm going to be going through my math lab, pulling assignments, and I'm going to match it to the grade as outlined in the syllabus.
Okay.
So if you want to get a sense of where you are, if you take your quiz average, your exam average, I think it's times however it's outlined in the syllabus. All right, that's what I'm going to follow. So you just take your exam average times point, like if it's 60%, then times 0.6, however it's outlined in the syllabus. I think the homeworks count for 10, quizzes count for 10, and the final is like 20 or 30. With a little bit of extra credit, and I might do a little bit more for extra credit. But at a baseline, I'm going to follow what's in the syllabus.
And what does the extra credit look like?
It's nothing you can do about it right now. It didn't really unfold the way I'd like. I'm still any extra credit that we accumulated on those certain days, I'm going to use that, but then I might do something else. But that's not the best you can do to try to maximize it is to maximize your score on my math lab, which you need to kind of do already. So as long as you just do what you're supposed to do, you'll be fine, more than likely.
Okay, thank you.
And there's some closing announcements. I just want to let this ride out because there are some things in there at the end. If I can get this to work. And it's like a minute or two left.
So again, if you join us late, I'll be hosting the final. So the final will be like exams 1, 2, and 3, unlimited attempts. We saw the dates. It'll be available basically from that Sunday to that Friday. So for about 5 days during the week of finals. My recommendation, try to finish all of your stuff on Pearson now. So that way, when you get access to the final, once you submit the final, idealistically, you want that to be the last thing. I do not recommend procrastinating in this case because the closer we get to the final exam, the more busy the server is going to be, and the less reliable Pearson is going to be. It's going to lock up. It's going to slow down and freeze because you have students worldwide, especially in like the U.S. But I know it goes beyond the U.S. But you're going to have students worldwide all trying to get on at the same time. The servers get overrun. It slows down. It becomes unreliable. So my recommendation over this break, over the next 7 days, go ahead and finish everything on Pearson as best you can, right? Again, with prioritizing the exams and saving the homework for last. Again, if there aren't any burning questions, we're going to go ahead and end the session here. And from one beautiful mind to another, happy holidays, gentlemen. Eat plenty of good food, spend time with loved ones. Tell somebody that you care about, tell them that you care about them, that you love them, you appreciate them, you know, that you're grateful to have been in an experience. And with that, I'm grateful to have met you all. I know we're remote. I can't see you all's faces, but I can feel your energy, right? I've had students find me. I'll be out on the belt line and random places. They're like, "Are you Professor Francis?" I was like, "Yeah, I've been in random places around the country." And people discover me like, "How do you guys know who I am?" But I am grateful to have met you all. I'm proud of you guys. You know, you guys are geniuses. You're here because you can do it. I know who you are because I know who I am. And only certain people can come in my field, right? I don't get just anybody that comes across my path. I only get the best of the best, right? No matter where you are, whether you realize it or not, you are the best, right? So with that, again, we're going to end the session here. And from one beautiful mind to another, have a wonderful day. Happy holidays, guys. Take care and peace. Need my outro music. Stay safe, guys. Have fun.